The late afternoon sun cast long golden shadows across Tanya Briggs's vegetable fields, painting the Georgia countryside in hues of amber and rust. Her muscles ached with the deep, satisfying fatigue of a full day's honest work as she lifted another crate of fresh-picked tomatoes into the bed of her weathered pickup. Sweat trickled down her neck, soaking into the collar of her work shirt. The air hummed with the familiar chorus of cicadas, a constant comforting soundtrack to life on the land that had been in her family for 4 generations. "Tanya, come on in and get cleaned up for supper." Her mother Darlene's voice, still strong and clear despite her years, carried from the farmhouse porch where the screen door creaked gently in the breeze. "Just one more crate, Mama," Tanya called back, wiping her brow with a sun-leathered forearm. The distant growl came first, a sound that didn't belong among the peaceful evening noises. Tanya's body tensed instinctively, her years of military training kicking in a heartbeat before her conscious mind could process the threat. 3 mud-splattered pickup trucks barreled down her dirt road, kicking up a storm of red dust. They skidded to a halt, forming a crude barrier across her driveway. The lead truck's Confederate flag decal glared defiantly in the setting sun. Bo Strickland emerged like a snake uncoiling. His sun-reddened skin gleamed with sweat, a stream of brown tobacco juice leaking from the corner of his mouth. His eyes, small and calculating, swept over her property with a sense of ownership that made her blood run cold. "Pretty little spread you got here," Bo drawled, his voice dripping with false sweetness. He took a few steps forward, his boots crunching on the gravel. "Shame it's going to be someone else's soon." The wiry one, with a patchy beard, hawked and spat, the glob landing inches from Tanya's worn work boots. "Ain't right," he muttered, just loud enough for her to hear. "This much land in black hands." The third, a hulking man with crude prison tattoos covering his arms, reached into her crate. His thick fingers closed around a perfect ripe tomato. With deliberate slowness, he crushed it. Red juice and seeds dripped between his fingers, spattering the dusty ground like blood. Tanya's pulse quickened, but her voice was steady, low, and carried the weight of forged steel. "Get off my land." Bo's smirk widened as he closed the distance between them. His breath reeked of cheap beer and chewing tobacco. "We're giving you a chance to walk away nice. You don't, things get ugly." "You boys better leave right now," Darlene's voice rang out from the porch. She stood at the railing, one hand gripping her cane, the other planted firmly on her hip. Bo's head snapped toward the house, a dangerous flicker in his eyes. He stared at Darlene for a tense moment before jerking his chin at his men. They piled back into the trucks. Engines roared to life, and tires spun deliberately in the loose dirt, spraying grit and pebbles across Tanya's boots. As the dust settled, her eyes fell on her fence post. A crude sign was nailed to it. The words, "Get out," were scrawled in dripping red paint. Below it, someone had sprayed a fresh Confederate flag. The next evening, a fragile sense of normalcy had returned. Tanya and Darlene sat at their worn kitchen table, steam rising from bowls of okra soup. But Tanya just pushed her vegetables around, her mind elsewhere. "You barely touched your food," Darlene observed. "Just thinking, Mama." The sharp crack of splintering wood cut through the quiet. Then came the roar, a deep, hungry sound. Orange light suddenly flooded through the windows, painting twisted, dancing shadows on the walls. The barn. Tanya bolted from her chair, bursting through the screen door. Heat slammed into her face as she rounded the corner of the house. Flames climbed the wooden walls of the barn, consuming decades of family history. The fire cast a hellish glow, thick black smoke billowing into the sky. The terrified sounds of their 2 horses came from inside. "The horses!" Darlene cried out. Tanya sprinted toward the doors, the heat intense. She threw them open, smoke pouring out. "Here," she called, coughing.
The horses burst past her, eyes wild with fear, and galloped for the safety of the far pasture. As she stumbled back, something caught her eye on the white siding of their house. Fresh paint gleamed in the firelight, crude letters spelling, "Not welcome here." Sheriff Alan Huxley's patrol car rolled up nearly an hour later. The barn was mostly ash. He stepped out, adjusting his belt with deliberate slowness. "Well now, it looks like you had yourself a fire." "This wasn't an accident," Tanya said, fighting to keep her voice level. "Look at the graffiti. The same people who threatened us yesterday did this." Huxley barely glanced at the message. "Could have been kids playing pranks." "Kids? Sheriff, that barn was doused in accelerant. You can smell it from here. The iron fangs?"
"Now hold on there," Huxley cut her off. "That's a mighty serious accusation without any proof. You got witnesses? Security cameras?" He shrugged, the implication clear. "I'll file a report." He tipped his hat with mock politeness. "You ladies have a good evening." He drove away, leaving them with the smoking ruins and the certain knowledge that no help would come. Dawn revealed the full extent of the destruction. Tanya was already clearing charred beams when Frank Mullins, an elderly veteran from a neighboring farm, appeared. "Morning, Frank." "Wouldn't have expected anything less from Ghost Eye," Frank said, his eyes taking in the damage. "Sheriff do anything useful?" "About what you'd expect." "Figured as much." Frank leaned on his cane. "If those boys knew who they were messing with." "That life's behind me," Tanya said firmly, her hand unconsciously touching the small scar near her collarbone, a reminder of her last mission. "Is it?" Frank's sharp eyes studied her. "The woman they called Ghost Eye, the Marine Corps' deadliest sniper. She wouldn't let thugs run her off her land." Memories flooded back. The weight of the rifle, the perfect stillness, the lives taken with surgical precision. 3 tours, 27 confirmed kills, until a commanding officer's betrayal in Afghanistan left 2 team members dead and ended her career. "I came back here to farm, Frank, not to fight wars." "Way I see it, war came to you." Frank's voice was gentle but firm. "These aren't just regular criminals. They're organized. They've done this before. Your skills, they're tools. It's how you use them that matters." Tanya resumed clearing debris, but her movements were less focused. "You don't understand. What I did, what happened, I failed my team." "So that's it?" Frank pushed himself up with a grunt. "You let these lowlifes win because you're afraid of your own shadow?" He gestured at the burned barn. "Your daddy would have fought." "Don't," Tanya warned, her voice sharp. "Don't use him against me. I'm reminding you who you are, both sides of you, the farmer and the warrior. Because from where I'm standing, you might need both to survive this." He turned to leave. "Just remember," he called over his shoulder, "sometimes the best way to avoid a fight is to show them you're ready for one." Tanya stood amidst the ashes, Frank's words echoing in the quiet morning air. The warrior inside her, long suppressed, began to stir. The morning mist clung to the fields as Tanya stepped onto her porch, her father's old shotgun resting comfortably in the crook of her arm. A restlessness had driven her from bed before sunrise. The weight of the weapon felt familiar, a dark echo of the rifle she'd sworn never to touch again. She moved silently across the wet grass, her eyes scanning the terrain. Near the edge of the cornfield, fresh boot prints, too large to be her own, were pressed deep into the mud. They led toward her irrigation pump house. She heard it then. Metal scraping against metal, followed by quiet cursing. Pressing herself against the cornstalks, she inched forward. A young man in a dirty denim jacket was crouched by the main valve, working at something with a wrench. She recognized him, one of the Iron Fang's newest recruits, always trying to prove himself. She emerged from the corn, shotgun leveled. "Drop the wrench." The young man jerked, the tool clattering to the ground. He spun around, face pale beneath his cap. I wasn't. I was just hands where I can see them. What's your name? C. Cody. Cody Miller. Well, Cody Miller, you're trespassing. She bound his hands with efficient knots. Sheriff Huxley took 45 minutes to arrive. Well, well, he drawled, taking in the scene. What do we have here? Breaking and entering, vandalism. I caught him trying to sabotage my water supply. That true, boy? No, sir. Was just looking around. She jumped me for no reason. With a wrench, Tanya challenged. The security camera on my pump house caught everything. She was bluffing, but Cody's face went even paler. Huxley chuckled, pulling out a pocket knife and cutting Cody's bonds. Boy was probably just lost. I'll give him a stern talking to. No need to make this official. This is the second attack. Tanya's anger boiled over. Accusations like that are serious business. Wouldn't want to start throwing around charges without proper evidence. Might make some folk unfriendly. He steered Cody toward the patrol car, not the back seat. You have a nice day now, Miss Briggs. Tanya watched the taillights disappear, the message searing itself into her mind. The law wasn't just unhelpful, it was on their side. The isolation grew. At the town store, people turned away. The hardware store owner refused her service. Close for you, he said flatly. Don't need your kind of trouble here. Whispers of lies spread through the community, poisoning her reputation and her business. Returning home, she found the water tank for her irrigation system contaminated, dozens of small fish floating belly up. The Iron Fangs were trying to destroy everything. That night, the trucks came again, parking along the road, their headlights sweeping across the farmhouse. Drunken shouts and the sound of breaking bottles punctuated the darkness. Get out while you can! Tick-tock, Ghost Eye! Burn it all down! Lying in bed, fully dressed, Tanya listened. The waiting, the tension, it was familiar. A combat zone in rural Georgia. Her military mind began to work, cataloging resources, identifying weak points. The anger hardened into cold, sharp steel. Plans began to form in the darkness. The next morning, she spread a large county map across her kitchen table. With precise movements, she marked locations, the gang's hangouts, their routes. She pulled her old ghillie suit from the attic, her range-finding binoculars, her night vision scope. The skills of Ghost Eye were returning. From a hidden position, she watched the Iron Fang's routines. She saw Bowstretch strut, saw the hierarchies, the tensions. She identified a pressure point, Joey Dawson, who seemed agitated, arguing over territory and profits. An anonymous call to Joey's girlfriend, a hint to Bo's right-hand man. Small seeds of doubt, planted carefully. She drove to the county seat, to the office of Laura Whitfield, a journalist with a reputation for exposing corruption. Tanya placed a manila envelope on her desk. I have information about Sheriff Huxley. Inside were bank records, photos of meetings with known gang members, evidence gathered with the sniper's patience. This could be explosive, Laura whispered. Give me time, Tanya said. I'm just getting started. That evening, from a high point of view, she watched her whispered rumors take root. Chaos erupted at the gang's compound. Bo was red-faced, screaming at Joey. Factions formed. Paranoia spread. The Iron Fangs were fracturing. But the victory was short-lived. 3 days later, as Tanya repaired a fence, the trucks returned. They boxed her in. Bo emerged with a pistol in his hand. Should have taken the hint, girl, he drawled, leveling the gun at her. A scream pierced the air from the house. Mama! 2 men dragged Darlene onto the porch. She fought fiercely, but they were too strong. Let her go! Tanya took a step forward, but Bo's gun pressed against her ribs. You stay right there and watch. One of the men struck Darlene across the face. The sound echoed across the yard. Something inside Tanya shattered.
She moved. Her elbow knocked Bo's gun aside. Her knee drove into his groin. But before she could break free, 3 men tackled her. Boots connected to her ribs. Through the pain, she heard her mother screaming her name. "Tanya!" Bo wheezed. "Enough! Get the old lady in the truck." She was forced to watch as they dragged her fighting mother away. Bo pressed his phone to record. "Say something pretty for your daughter." "Tanya!" Darlene's voice was fierce. "Don't you give up! Don't you dare!" The truck door slammed. "Choice is simple. Land for your mama. You got 24 hours to clear out. Or—" He drew a finger across his throat. Alone, bruised, Tanya stumbled to her feet. Her phone buzzed. The video of her mother's kidnapping appeared. Clocks ticking. Her allies arrived within the hour. Laura, Miguel the mechanic, old Frank, Martha from the store. They found her at the kitchen table, the video playing on a loop. "We need to call the state police, the FBI." "They'll kill her before help arrives," Tanya said flat and cold. She walked to her bedroom closet. The combination lock on the long black case clicked open. Inside, nestled in foam, lay the pieces of her Remington M24 sniper rifle. Her fingers traced the familiar cold metal. Each component slid into place with practiced precision. Barrel, receiver, bolt, scope. The weapon felt like an extension of herself once more. This wasn't about revenge. It was a mission. Identify targets, plan approach, execute. They had her mother. That was all that mattered.